In Vancouver, the student debt conversation in 2025-2026 doesn't feel like a niche campus issue. It feels like rent. It feels like groceries. It feels like checking your banking app after tuition hits and realizing your adult life is basically a monthly subscription to survival. And the numbers behind that feeling are getting harder to ignore. The bill is rising, and so is the gap. Across Canada, tuition continues to climb, especially for international students, which matters a lot in Vancouver because schools like UBC, SFU, and BCIT exist in a region that's already expensive and heavily shaped by global migration. Statistics Canada reported that in 2025-2026, international undergrads were expected to pay more than 5 times the tuition of Canadian students, and that gap has widened dramatically over the past decade. That gap doesn't stay neatly contained to international student problems. When institutions lean on international tuition to balance budgets, it shapes program sizes, campus services, housing demand, and local labor markets, especially in a city where vacancies are tight and room rentals can rival a small mortgage. Help exists, but it's a moving target. Canada's student aid system does provide meaningful support, but in 2025-2026, it's also visibly in flux. For example, the Federal Canada Student Grant for full-time students was listed at up to $40,200 per year or up to $525 per month of study until the end of the 2025-2026 school year. That word, until, matters. It's one of the reasons students keep asking whether today's support will still exist next year. Meanwhile, federal loan limits increased again. Open federal briefing notes state the weekly Canada student loan limit was raised to $300 a week for 2025-26, meaning up to $10,200 for a typical 34-week academic year. In one sense, that's relief. More upfront room to breathe. In another sense, it's also permission to borrow more in a country where tuition is only one slice of the problem and housing is often the largest slice. Debt doesn't just cost money, it costs attention. Student debt is often talked about like a simple math equation. Borrow now, earn later, pay it off. But research keeps showing the psychological reality is messier. A pan-Canadian study of post-secondary student stress found that finances and concerns about the future were among the most severe stressors reported by students. Financial worry isn't just background noise. It can shape concentration, sleep, motivation, and mental health, especially when combined with precarious work and an unpredictable job market. That's a big deal in 2025-2026 because student debt is no longer the price of a degree. It's increasingly a long-term condition people carry into their late 20s and 30s while trying to build a life in one of Canada's least forgiving housing markets. And government reporting suggests many students are leaving school with real balances. In its 2023-2024 annual report, the Canada Student Financial Assistance Program reported average loan balances of $18,545 for university students and $10,851 for college students in that academic year. Those figures don't include everything students may owe, like private loans or family borrowing, but they still give you a grounded sense of scale. Vancouver's version of the crisis, tuition plus the city premium. If you're in Vancouver, you're not just paying for education, you're paying for education in Vancouver. BCIT's tuition page notes that BC post-secondary institutions may raise tuition by up to 2% annually, pointing students to the province's tuition limit policy. And at UBC, even campus journalism has been tracking Board of Governors' decisions approving tuition increases, including 2% for domestic students with higher ranges for international, effective in 2026. Those increases might sound small as percentages, but they land on top of rent increases, food inflation, and transit costs. A 2% bump isn't just a line item, it can be the difference between I can reduce my work hours to study and I need another shift, even during midterms. One reason the student debt crisis is loud right now is that it's become content. Not because students are unserious, but because humor is how people stay upright. Instagram reels with captions like "college is a scam" rack up attention because they compress a whole economic reality into one sentence. One reason the student debt crisis is loud right now is that it's become content. Not because students are unserious, but because humor is how people stay upright. Instagram reels with captions like "college is a scam" rack up attention because they compress a whole economic reality into one sentence. And public broadcasters like CBC have also been pushing short-form explainer content on what, if anything, budgets mean for students. Because audiences keep asking, even when the posts are jokes, the subtext is consistent. I did what I was told, study, credential, hustle, and I still feel behind. The most honest way to describe the 2025-2026 student debt crisis is this. It's not only about tuition, it's about whether higher education still functions as a reliable bridge into stability. When tuition rises, aid rules shift, and Vancouver's cost of living stays punishing, debt stops being a temporary tool and starts feeling like a life architecture, something you build every decision around. And that's why the crisis isn't just financial. It's cultural, it's mental health, it's delayed independence, it's the quiet math people do before they decide whether they can afford to become the person they're trying to be.